Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. For today's Pilates conditioning class, you are going to need a stick. I've got a repurposed broomstick. You need a stick about the length of a broomstick. So if you don't have a broomstick available, scrounge around the house, see what you can find. You could use a gardening trowel or a piece of piping, plastic piping or metal piping. It's not so much about the actual girth or the circumference or the weight of the stick. It's more about just having a placeholder to keep the upper body engaged. If you don't have something that you could use as your stick placeholder today, you can just mimic or mime holding a stick, but it does help if you have something to physically hold on to. If you need to pause the stream, scrounge around, see what you can find, and meet me back on the mat when you're ready. If you're ready to plan, find your way onto the mat. Set yourself more or less towards the back end of the mat and set your feet up in a parallel line, stacking underneath your hips. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and grab the stick more or less shoulder width apart and float it to the top of your thighs. We're going to roll it down with the stick as our placeholder. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, nod your chin to your chest, peel down, almost brushing or running the stick along the top of your thighs, and then taking it slightly away from you and then peeling back up to your start position, dragging it up along the thighs to restack and realign your body. Exhale as you peel down, using the whole exhalation to roll down and slowly draw the stick away before you peel it back up, almost trying to brush up along the toes, up along the top of your thighs, coming back to your start position, thinking of restacking and realigning the body. As you play, I want you to keep your form, so you're keeping belly button to spine the whole time and thinking of that restacking and that realignment of your body as you come back to a standing position on the mat. Sync your movement to your breath. Take a big inhale to prepare and use a whole exhalation to roll all the way down and away. Inhale to prepare and then use a whole exhalation to peel back up to your start position. Let's do two more. Think of gently mobilizing and warming up through the spine, keeping the belly connected. Last one. And then we'll break down a little high pull with a snatch through. So as you peel back up to your start position, have the arms long at your side with the stick gently connected to the top of your thighs. Hold onto the stick in a fisted format with your knuckles looking down towards the floor. Then bend the elbows and pull the bar up, brushing alongside your body, bringing it to your bosom and back down again. So brushing up along your body and back to your bosom. That's the first part of the movement. When you've got that part, we're going to add the second part. Pull up until you reach your bosom, and then flip the hands over so that the fists are looking away from you, and take it up to the ceiling and back to your start position, coming back down. So brushing up along your thighs till you reach your bosom, then flip the hands over and take the bar overhead. Bring it back down, flip back down, and peel back down. Once you've got the arms going and you can use a nice fluid motion, you're going to add the legs. As you brush up, when you reach your bosom, you're going to give me a little burst of energies if you wanted to shoot up off your heels before taking the bar overhead. Little burst as the bar comes towards your breast and then back down to your start position. You're going to shoot for 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. We're going to play up a little triangle line. Find your foot line on the mat first. Step the right leg forward. Give me almost a pyramid shape between both feet, but have the back leg slightly in at 45. You're going to raise your stick overhead, grasp it in the hands so that it's more or less shoulder width apart, could be a little bit wider. You're going to take a big breath in and you're going to come overhead as if you wanted to tap the stick to the floor. Focus on getting a nice little stretch from the left hip bone through the ribs and through the meridian of the arm. Come back to your start position. Dip back down. Pausing for about 5 seconds roughly, feeling that stretch through the trunk, and then coming back to your start position. Sync your movement to your breath. You're going to give me 2 more like this. Last one, and then we're going to reverse the triangle line before we work a little combo. You're going to dip back, pause. Now you're feeling the stretch along the front chain of the body and back to your start position. Coming off the center line, dipping back, almost as if you wanted to tap the stick to the mat, and then come back to your start position. Pausing for roughly 5 seconds, feeling that little stretch, then coming back. Last one, then we're going to combine the 2 movements together. You're going to give me a front tap, pause in the center, back tap, center, front tap, center, back tap, center, front tap, center, back tap, center. Let's do one more. And then we'll take it to the other side. Change your legs, finding your triangle line. On the other side, make sure that that back foot is in at a 45-degree angle. You're going to gently make a tap into the front, pausing for roughly 5 seconds. And if you want to get a little bit more bang out of your butt, think of pulling the 2 hands apart. So grip the bar and pull. Even though the arms are locked in position, give me a little bit of a pulling action and you'll feel a lot more work through the upper chain of the body. Let's do 2 more like this, and then we'll reverse our little triangle stretch. Last one. Find your way back to center. Tap as if you wanted to reach for the mat behind you, pausing for 5 seconds, and then coming back to the center line. Tapping the mat behind you, pausing, and then coming back overhead. Think of pulling the bar away with both hands. One more like this, and then we'll work the little combination. Tapping to the front, center, back, center, front, center, back, center. Keep those feet locked in position. Both legs long and extended, but try not to lock the knees up. Keep a softness to the knees so there shouldn't be any pressure on the knees. All right, last one. As you complete your last one and come back to center, heel toe in, big toes and ankles touching, and then cross the right foot over the left. Float the bar overhead and take a little stretch to the left as if you wanted to tap the bar to the floor and come back overhead. You're going to do that 10 times. Pausing, feeling the little stretch and coming back. 8, 7. Try to keep your feet firmly grounded into the mat and feel a strong pull up from the inside of both ankle bones, feeding along the inseam of both legs and then zippering up from your pubic bone towards your waistline. I must admit I lost count now, so let's do 2 more and then we'll change sides. As you complete your last one, find your way back to the center. Come back to parallel, shake out the legs if you need to, and then cross the left leg over the right. Find your position on the mat, dip just off the center line to the right, pausing for a beat or 2 before coming back to center. Give me 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to change our orientation on the mat. You're going to stand facing the front of the mat and you're going to anchor the stick or your pole into the mat, just off center on the right. So just a little bit wider than your shoulder on the right side of the body. You're going to give me a heel toe in, connecting the feet along the midline of the body, embracing your opposite hand on the hip. Chin line nice and parallel to the floor. You're going to bring the right knee up to 90, and then the left knee up to 90. Just get a stance, or rather get a sense of where you are on the mat. Then come back to stillness and end with the left leg up at 90 and release into the ankle joint, giving me about 10 little revolutions in one direction and then 10 in the other. Firmly planting through that stick and giving me a long line through the spine. Come to stillness on the ankle. Think knee to nose and knee to hip. Knee to nose, knee to hip. Just gently waking up through the hip joint. Give me 6, 5, 4. Try to keep yourself firmly rooted on the supportive side. Last one. Shake it up. Change sides. Find your plant into the mat. Push down into the stick and keep pushing down and keep yourself rooted on the supportive side. Knee to hip and just release that ankle. Think of finding a long line through your supportive leg and the spine. Come to stillness along the midline of the body. Knee to nose, knee to hip. Knee to nose, knee to hip. Taking it out to the side. Let's do 5 more. And then we're going to change the sit-up for the legs and we're going to come into a little Pilates V. Last set. As you complete the last set, float your feet into a Pilates V. So heels together with the toes softly splayed out and plant the stick in the middle of your foot line. So you can draw that line out. Push down into the stick, stacking one hand on top of the other. Float up onto the toes and come back down, hovering the heels just off the floor. Trying to find your balance, pushing down into the stick and lengthening through the spine and keeping a slight micro bend in the elbows. 4, 3, 2, last one. You're going to connect the heels to the mat and keep the turnout position. Small little bend in the knees and come back. Take a glance down, and as you bend through the knees, check that your knees are not tracking further than the first toe, the big toe and the second toe. Give me 4, 3, last 2, and then we're going to combine those 2 together before we use that for our next little set of exercises. So bring it up on the toes, all the way down, bend on the knees. Up on the toes, all the way down, bend through the knees. 7, 6, belly to spine the whole time. Keep pushing down into the stick and give me a long line through your spine. As you complete your last one, you're going to hold on to the stick. You're going to give me a softness, and you can either keep the turnout position or you can come into parallel if you find it too hard to keep the turnout position. You're going to find a neutral spine position, and then you're going to bend the knees softly and just tilt the pelvis to 12 o'clock and back to neutral. Tilt to 12 o'clock and back to neutral. So front view, you're keeping the turnout position if you can, with the knees slightly bent. You're just tilting and coming back to neutral. Tilting and coming back to neutral. If that's too hard, find a parallel position. Soft knees, tilt and relax. Tilt and relax. So it's all about that S curve in the spine. You're starting with the S curve, you're tilting and coming back to neutral. Tilting and coming back to neutral. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Now you're going to bring the weight onto your toes. So you're going to come onto the balls of your feet on both sides with the heels touching. Front view, your knees are softly splayed out, but don't come down too far. Start rather high up with just a small little micro bend in the legs. Grab the stick, stacking one fist on top of the other, and push down into the floor. Start with your little micro bend in the knees. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock and come to neutral. Then bend a little bit deeper through the knees. Scoop, release. Bend a little bit deeper. Scoop, release. Hold it as low as you can. Scoop, release. Come back up to position 2. Scoop, release. Position 1. Scoop, release. Bring it all the way down and shake it up. We're going to do 5 more sets like that, coming down in 3 and coming back in 3. Alrighty, find position 1. Scoop, release. Position 2. Scoop, release. Position 3. Scoop, release. Trying to come as low as you can. Scoop, release. Find position 2. Scoop, release. Position 1. Scoop, release. Bring it all the way down. Shake it out. Find your setup position 1. Scoop, release. Position 2. Scoop, release. Position 3. Scoop, release. Hold position 3. Scoop, release. Position 2. Scoop, release. Position 1. Scoop, release. All the way down, shake it out. Let's do one more set. Find position 1. Scoop, release. Position 2. Scoop, release. Position 3. Scoop, release. Hold position 3. Scoop, release. Position 2. Scoop, release. Position 1. Scoop, release. Change your orientation on the mat, opening up into a wide-legged straddle. Take it into almost a plie line if you can. So you're thinking goddess, but trying to almost have the ankle and the big toe in a straight line or giving me a slight V on the mat. You're going to start with the bar behind your head, resting on your shoulders, holding on with your hands. You're going to lift and lower on the right heel. Every time you lift the right heel, you float the bar overhead and come back down to tap on your shoulder blades. Give me 3, 2, last one, you're going to change sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, shake it out if you need to. We're going to double up. Come overhead as you lift off both heels. When you plant your heels back on the floor, you tap the bar to your shoulder blades behind your back. Give me 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You're going to come as low as you can, and you're going to pulse for 10 with the bar floating overhead. Pull the bar away with both hands. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Heel toe in and change your orientation on the mat. Giving me a parallel stance and placing the bar just to the side of your right hip, slightly in front of your foot line. Heel toe in. Give me a connection between your big toes and your ankles. Stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees, and your knees over your ankles, and brace your opposite hand on the hip bone. You're going to float the right leg out in front of you, and you're going to toe tap out 10 times, tapping the mat softly with your big toe, and then raising it up almost seamlessly as if you wanted to just stop shy of your hip before tapping back out on the mat. To make that leg come up, pretend you're pulling on a little piece of string through your belly button that connects the inner thigh, the top of your thigh, and your lower abdominal area. So make sure you're feeling that powerhouse working. Give me 2 more. Then you're going to end high, and you're going to give me 10 little pulses. Keep the stack on the rest of your body. So don't lean forward and don't lean back. You're pushing the stick into the floor and you're firmly grounded. Once you've done your 10, float the leg out to the side. So front view, you're just to the side of your hip with your toe connected to the mat. You're going to give me 10 little raises up and down. Visualize that little piece of string that you're pulling through the belly button and keep your body beautifully stacked on the supportive side. Give me 4, 3, 2. You're going to end high and you're going to give me 10 little pulses. 7, 5, 3, 2. Last one, bring it back down, shake it out if you need to, and then take the leg out behind you. It's more or less in line with your hip or slightly wider, and connect your big toe to the mat. Then lift and lower the leg. Try not to bend and donkey kick up. It's not about how high you're kicking or lifting off the floor. It's about just softly squeezing through the glute to lift and lower. So think a nice little bubble butt as you lift and lower. Give me 4, 3, 2. You're going to end high and you're going to pulse for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Last one, come back to your start position. Give me a little shake out, either keeping your feet in parallel or softly splayed out in V. Anchor on the left side, brace your supportive hand. You're going to lift and lower the right leg for 10. Tapping softly on the mat or hovering just off the mat, and make sure that you're not driving the movement from your foot. Think of engaging the inner thighs and your lower abdominals to lift and lower that leg. Let's do 3 more. Then you're going to end high for me and you're going to pulse for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Last one, take the leg out to the side. So front view, you're firmly planted into the mat and you're lifting and lowering for 10. Let's do 4 more. You're going to end high and you're going to pulse for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Last one, you're going to take the leg behind you, setting yourself up in a modified arabesque. You're going to squeeze the glutes to float up and come back down to your start position. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2. You're going to give me little pulses. 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to set yourself up for a squat line. So front view, you're stepping the feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart, and you're going to splay the feet softly out, and you're going to bend through the knees, thinking chair line. All right, let's set up the legs first. So you're going to place the stick on your shoulder blades behind your back. As you come into the squat line, bending through the knees and pushing the weight back into your bum and your heels, you're going to float the stick overhead. And then as you come back into your standing line, you're going to tap the stick to the top of your shoulder blades behind your back. Make sure you're pushing the weight back into your bum and your heels as you come into the modified squat line. Trying to drop a little bit lower every time as the groin and the inner thighs start warming up. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2. Last one, you're going to just heel toe in. Give me a little forward fold to release. So just brushing the stick down the top of your thighs, holding and hanging, and just releasing into the lower back, keeping your belly button softly pulled in. Then peel up along the center line and just look behind you and make sure that you've got enough room to extend the leg out into a warrior 3-like position. So you're going to start for me with your feet stacked comfortably underneath your hips and the bar resting on the top of your thighs. You're going to think of gently folding forward into a tabletop line and floating or softly kicking up the right leg behind you, trying to find a warrior three line with the head tucked between the two hands. Pull the bar away with both hands and hold your tabletop line. Try and hold it roughly for 10 seconds. Keep your belly button firmly pulled into center and then float back to your start position and give me a little shake out. Let's try that line on the other side, then we'll come back to side one and we'll add to the exercise. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, fold forward, almost seamlessly floating the arms and the left leg up into a tabletop line. Trying to keep your shoulders squared so the bar is nice and even in your hands and the hips are nice and squared behind you. Float back to your start position. Shake out the legs. Let's come back to side one and let's add a little toe tap. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, float into your warrior three line, keeping a soft foot behind you. You're going to tap the right big toe towards the mat and back to your tabletop line 10 times. Try to keep the shoulders even. Try to keep the hips even and keep the belly button softly pulled into center so you're keeping control of the movement. Let's do 3 more. Last one. Come back to your start position. Give the legs a little shake up. Center yourself. Take a big breath in to prepare. And on the exhale, float into your warrior three line. Once you've found it and you feel nice and steady, you're going to begin toe tapping out on the left for 10 controlled repetitions. You don't have to tap all the way to the floor. You could hover just off the floor, but make sure that you keep control, keep your core engaged the whole time. Last one. Come back to center and take a little shake out. Come back to side one. We're going to pulse. Big breath in to prepare. Exhale and find your warrior three line. Keep that leg high and pulse up and down for 10 little repetitions. 8, 6, 4, 2. Last one. Come back to your start position. Shake it up. Big breath in to prepare. Exhale, float into your warrior three line and pulse softly up and down for 10 repetitions. 7, 5, 3, 2. Last one. Come back to the mat and step out into the triangle line, setting yourself more or less in the middle of the mat. Both legs long and extended. Front leg looking towards the front of the mat and the back leg turned in slightly at 45, but ground the whole foot into the mat. So check that your big toe, baby toe and heel stay firmly connected to the mat. Float your stick overhead and open up the legs a little bit wider if you feel nice and warm through the groin. Take a big breath in. Think of coming into an extended triangle line and holding, stacking one wrist or one palm on top of the other. So there should be a long line through the stick. Pause and hold. Come back to the center line. Exhale and reverse. Stacking one wrist on top of the other. Pulling the stick away with both hands and holding for a soft count of 10. Holding that triangle line through the legs. Then step up to the top of your mat. You're going to find your way to the tree line on the right. So front view, you're going to bend your right leg, place the sole of the foot on the inside of the left leg, either big toe connected to the mat or coming up a little bit higher so that the whole foot is underneath the knee, or taking a high tree line with your whole foot on the inside of your supported leg. Find the tree line that works for you. Keep your eye firmly trained on a focal point in front of you to help with your balance. You're going to float the stick behind your head, elbows are bent, and the stick is resting on your shoulder blades. You're going to lift and lower the stick, keeping it behind your head, floating up to the ceiling and back to your start position. Take a wide grip and keep pulling the stick away from the center line with both hands. You're going to do that 10 times while keeping a steady and firm tree line through the legs. Last 3, 2, last one. Come back into a parallel stance, and you can either just roll it down, nodding your chin to your chest, and peeling back down as you did right in the beginning of the class, or you're going to come onto the haunches. So as you roll down, bend through the knees, pushing the stick or the trowel away from you, and then peeling back to your start position, hugging the stick up towards your chest and bending the elbows wide. Coming down onto the haunches on an exhale and pushing the stick away, and then drawing it back up, almost as if you were trying to brush along the breast line towards your throat with the arms. Let's do 3 more. Last one. As you complete the last one, you're going to peel back up along the center line, and we're going to take that triangle line on the other side. Let's just change our orientation on the mat. Make sure that the back leg is tucked in. Take your stance wide if you can, and float the stick overhead. Finding a triangle line by leaning forward and trying to notice the stack of your hands, stacking one hand on top of the other so that the stick is in a nice straight line, and then holding that triangle line for a rough count of 10. Then ease your way back to the center line and give me your reverse triangle, dropping the stick softly down towards the floor. Find your way back to the center. Heel toe in or take a step to the front of the mat. You're going to find that tree line on the left. So either baby tree, medium, or coming all the way up to the top. Find your tree line. Keep your eye firmly trained on that focal point on the wall in front of you. Drop the stick behind your back so that it's resting on your shoulder blades. Hold the tree line as you lift and lower the stick towards the ceiling, and then tapping back out on the shoulder blades. Almost think of squeezing the shoulder blades together as if you wanted to crack a walnut between the shoulder blades as you come back to your resting place. Keep pulling the bar away with both hands. Let's do 3 more. And then we'll do that little roll down and marry it with a little haunch hold. Come back to your parallel stance on the mat. Think of rolling down, bending through the knees and coming onto the haunches before peeling back up to your start position. And you can start playing with that stick, this time taking it all the way overhead before brushing back down across your breast. Almost think of running the stick up along the body. So from the tops of your thighs, along your belly, along your chest, and overhead. Sync your movement to your breath. Make it beautifully fluid. Keep pulling the stick away with both hands. Let's do 4 more. Last one. As you complete the last one, you're going to make your way onto the bum. Find a seated frame towards the top end of the mat. So make sure that you've got enough room to play. Open up the legs nice and wide and begin with the stick overhead. Brace into your feet and make sure that you're not hanging off your bum bone. So give me a nice high seat. Round out as if you were stretching over a big ball, and then brush the stick along the top of your thighs and back up to your start position. Rounding out, brushing the stick up along the top of your thighs to push back up at the ceiling. Rounding out, running up along the top of your thighs, restacking and realigning. Let's do that twice more. So we're just changing up the spine stretch slightly. As you complete the last one, you're going to hold that nice wide line and you're going to hold the stick out in front of you as wide a grip as you can comfortably manage. Exhale and twist to the left, thinking 180. Pause, come back to your start line. Exhale, take it to the right. You're going to give me 4 more sets. Try not to lean back as you plank, so keep the stack of your shoulders over your hips as you twisting side to side. Keep belly to spine. Keep bracing softly into your feet. Let's do 1 more to each side, and then we'll work a modified boat line. Bend the knees and connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Dip just off the center line, resting the bar on the top of your thighs, and hold for 10. Almost pushing down softly on the knees or the shins. Come back to your rest position. Dip the weights off, find your boat line, and see if you can hover the stick in front of you, giving yourself a good distance between the shins and the bar. Come back to your start position on the mat. This time, dip off the center line, but keep your feet firmly rooted into the mat. You're going to give me a little twist to the left, thinking 180. Come back, take it back to the right. You're going to do that 9 more times. 1 to each side is 1 repetition. 8, so a modified Russian twist. 7, keep your belly button firmly pulled in. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. The last one, we're going to roll it down with a bent leg. Check that you've got enough runway behind you. So if you need to creep back to the front of the mat, and if you need a little bit of padding, place it where your lower back is going to be imprinting into as you come down. Sit up nice and tall, feet stacked in parallel, firmly rooted to the mat. Nod your chin to your chest. Draw the trowel or the stick towards your body and softly overhead. Almost pushing the stick away as you come to a seated frame, brushing it up along the length of your body to float overhead, and then pushing back up to your start position. Use your breath. Inhale to prepare. Whole exhalation to peel all the way onto the back. Inhale to prepare. Whole exhalation to push back up to your start position. Let's do 2 more, and you can roll up as fluidly or as slowly as is working for you today, but make sure that you're controlling through the core. Let's do 2 more, and then we're going to end on the back, and we're going to work a modified crunch line. So as you come down on the last one, if you've got padding underneath your back, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet, lift your bum up off the mat, and then reset yourself up as if you were setting a bridge line up. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet, and start with the elbows firmly planted into the mat and the bar floating just off the floor. Find a neutral spine position. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock so that your lower spine imprints. Peel up and brush the stick away as if you were trying to rest the stick on top of your thighs, and hold for at least 3 to 5 seconds before peeling back down to your start position and taking a time out. Exhale to scoop and hold, holding that little crunch line so your lower back is imprinted into the mat and your belly is firmly engaged. And then peel back to your start position. Let's see if you can give me 2 more. Last one. Hold that contraction for at least 5 seconds. Peel back down to the mat and float the arms and legs overhead. You're going to give me a little modified U-hold, so your arms are nice and wide, wider than shoulder width apart, and you're tugging and holding onto the bar, beginning neutral spine. On an exhale, give me a small tilt of your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop, imprint the lower spine, pull the bar away as you hover the arms and the legs off the mat and hold for 10 seconds, bracing strongly into the core. Your whole belly should be quivering. Peel back down to the mat and take a time out. Ready to scoop and you hold in 3, 2, scoop, peel, hold. Lower back scooped and imprinted, 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest, weight just off the shoulders, holding a soft U frame through the body. Float softly back down to the mat and take a time out. Let's do one more. Ready to scoop and you hold in 3, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, float softly back down to the mat. From your long extended line, you're going to drag the big toes along the mat as you peel up off the shoulders to rest the stick on the top of your knees or on your shins as you hold a tabletop line through the legs, holding that contraction through the core. Then drag the big toes along the mat as you brace and come back into extension. Exhale to peel and tuck into your little ball, pushing the stick firmly down into the top of your legs, so either onto the knees or the shins, and then dragging and bracing into the feet as you come back into extension. Just do 2 more. Feel that little contraction through the core. You're going to end in that little tuck shape. Hold it so your lower back is scooped and imprinted, weight off the shoulders. You're going to V the arms and the legs out and tap back out. V the arms and the legs out, tap back out. Holding that scoop position so your belly should be burning. Try to round out through the lower spine, almost making your lower ribs heavy into the mat. Keep your core braced. It should be speaking to you. Let's do 2 more. The last one. Bring the stick behind your legs, holding a tabletop line. We're going to come into a modified 100. You're pinching the stick between your index finger and your thumb, or you can hold a fisted line. Give me long fingers if you can. Scoop and peel up, and then work your 100 from here. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Long inhale for 5, long exhale for 5. Don't hold the breath and don't try to syncopate your breath. Last set. As you complete the last set, find your way softly back onto the mat. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and float your right leg into a tabletop line. Start with the elbows soft and relaxed at your side, resting them on the floor and holding the bar firmly in the hands. We're going to do a one-legged roll-up. As you roll up, you're going to kick and extend the right leg and then peel back down to your start position. Holding that tabletop line on the floating right leg as you reconnect to the mat. And then slowly peeling up and extending the bar on the foot away. Just one more. On this side, and then we'll change sides. Find your setup frame on the left. Tabletop line, elbows anchored into the mat. Roll up and push the bar and the foot away from you, almost as if you were trying to resist the wall at the opposite end of the room. Let's do one more. As you complete the last one, you're going to end seated and you're going to open up into a wide-legged seated straddle. Opening up the legs as wide as you can and starting with the bar out in front of you, just outside of shoulder width apart, and bring the bar flush to your chest. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, fold forward and push the bar away, almost trying to frame your head between the 2 arms. And then pull back up to your start position. So bar starts chest height. As you roll and fold forward, you pull the bar away from you, tucking the head between the two arms, and come back to your start position. Brace into your heels. Let's do 2 more. Push the bar away, frame your head between the two arms, and peel back to your start position. Last one. Come back to your start position. Pivot to the right, starting with the bar flush with your chest. Almost think of brushing along the top of your thighs as if you wanted to reach and hook over your foot. You could actually hook over your foot if you like and take a little stretch here. And then peel back to your start position. Let's keep it dynamic at first. Just playing with that stretch dynamically. Trying to stretch past your toes and hold. And then peel back to your start position. Every time trying to drop a little bit lower and bring the chest closer to the top of your thighs. We'll do 2 more and then we'll hold the last one and we'll hook over the toe if you can. Reach over, hook over the toe, pull the bar towards your chest line and push away with the foot. Come back to the center line and pivot to look to the left. Starting with the bar in line with your chest, think of brushing over the top of your thigh to reach over your foot and back to your start position. Working almost with a rowing or rolling action through the body, and every time you fold forward, try to drop a little bit lower and bring that chest closer to the top of your thighs. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll hold the last one and we'll try to hook over the toe. Think of pulling in with the bar and bracing into the bar with your foot. Hold for a soft count of 10. 8, 6, 4, 2. Last one, peel back up to your start position and find a mermaid frame. Bend the right leg and think of lining up the knee and the ankle in a straight line so that you're mimicking the front edge of your mat. Then tuck the left knee into the instep of the right leg. Float the bar overhead and just take a little dip to the left as if you wanted to tap the stick to the floor. You don't have to tap, just stop when you feel enough of a stretch along the right side of the body. So I want you to feel a nice opening through the hips, through the ribs, into the chest, and even into the armpit. And then come back to your start position. Give me 2 more, almost pausing roughly for 4 or 5 seconds before coming back to the center line. Last one. Change your setup, finding your mermaid frame on the left, or rather leading with the left leg. Find your tuck. Once you've found it, float the bar overhead. You're going to dip just off center and back to your start position. Feeling that stretch. So really try to come out through the hip on the left. Open up all the little spaces between the ribs on the left and control the contraction on the right. Try not to crumple in, so give me a long spine and just think of working into the trunk. Last 2. As you complete your last one and find your way back to the center line, tuck into an easy sit, stacking one leg in front of the other and just place the stick softly on the floor. Float your hands to prayer, lengthen up through the spine. Take a moment just to thank yourself for making time to come and play. Namaste to you all. Hope you enjoyed today's conditioning class. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Shoot me your comments in the comments box. And remember to subscribe with your notification bell on. I shall see you all for playtime on the mat tomorrow. We're working an awesome set to usher in the new year. You don't want to miss it. Till then, keep it light.